Hello everyone, welcome to Palos Verdes Estates, California. We're starting off our day in this coastal city over here at one of the Palos Verdes Estates Memorial Gardens. This is a fountain, yet due to the drought they have it dry at the moment. This garden honors those who gave their lives to preserve the freedoms and sustain hope for future generations. Remember our city public servants. See what this plaque says here. Remember our armed forces personnel. These endured all and gave all that justice among nations might prevail and that mankind might enjoy freedom and peace. See the ocean in the distance there, and it's actually a very short distance because Palos Verdes Estates is a coastal city located right on the cliffside at the ocean shore, dedicated as affirmation of our community's support of the principles and philosophies upon which these United States were founded, and in honor of all those whose lives were altered forever by the events of September 11, 2001. Let's do a quick walk around this Memorial Garden trail before we head over to one of the anchors and one of the very first buildings here in Palos Verdes Estates. It's nice they have a bench over there. Nice stone bench. Palos Verdes Estates is a master planned community, one of the very first master planned communities in the entire country. So master planned communities are where if there's a large section of land, thousands of acres, that they want to establish a city or a community at, they sit down and they do it on paper first. And then they drop the developments, what goes where, all the way down to where businesses are, where residences are going to be located. And then they build over the decades. Whereas some other communities, pretty much where homes popped up, they popped up. Where businesses popped up, they did as well. Well, let's head over to one of the very first structures here in this master planned community across the street. So Palos Verdes Estates, or PV Estates as it's known, it's one of the many cities in Los Angeles County, pretty much on the southern side. It's situated on the Palos Verdes Peninsula, which is a hill, a large hill. You can see a very small section of the hill going up there, but it's certainly a peninsula surrounded three sides by water, as well as high elevation. There's about 13,000 people who live here in the city, and it's primarily, we'll just wait for traffic to clear because this driver doesn't see us. It's primarily a residential community. In fact, they have very little business here. It originally started just as a subdivision here in Los Angeles County in the early 1920s, about 1923, when they started out just over 3,000 acres. that they carved out of a section of 16,000 acres, which would encompass much of the peninsula itself. The developer was a very well-known gentleman property owner named Frank Vanderlip. And part of the original master plan was half of the land had to be set aside for common use, such as the roads, the parks, bridle paths. There's a lot of equestrian usage here. Golf course. Coastline has to be free of development for a good part. 90% of the remaining land was to be used for residential single-family homes. So this is not an apartment building community. This truly is a single-family home community. So with 90% being residential, that gives you an idea how limited business there is in the city. Let's take a quick walk down here towards the Civic Center, and then we'll head over to see some of the earliest buildings in the entire city. Their Civic Center is rather small because it is a small city. So this would be City Hall, public safety. Watch for exiting emergency vehicles. That's a good idea. Let's walk to the end of this building here. Palos Verdes Estates has their own police department, which is unusual for a very small city. Yet for fire services, they use the larger Los Angeles County Fire Department. So that's the police station right next to the fire station. This will take us around the back of the Civic Center. Let's take a quick look at this City Hall fountain, which is, again, is turned off because of the drought here in California. This looks real nice when it's running. It hasn't been running for quite some time. This is father of the city, the Honorable H.F.B. Rosler, first mayor of Palos Verdes Estates. And this was after the city was incorporated. The original land started being divvied up and developed in the 1920s, but the city was incorporated in 1939 as an official city. So he was their first mayor at that time from 1940 to 1965, which for being a mayor of a city is a long time. 25 years. It's a long time to be a public official in the same position in local government. See these large undeveloped medians, well, developed with landscaping, but the city sure did preserve a large area for public use as opposed to development. So we're basically in the main business corridor, just at the end of it here with City Hall and the Civic Center. The business corridor is very small, and with limited exception, there's only two main business areas in the entire city, and they're both relatively small. So certainly no large format stores here. There's no chain stores, anything like that. Oh, let's walk through here. Oop. Got a dog not on a leash, so we will kind of walk around and just watch. Oh, coming this way. Thank you. Okay. The guy's coming to get his dog. Nice trees that have been here for a long, long time. So there are two business areas in Palos Verdes Estates. One of them is called Malaga Cove Plaza. And we're going to see the other one, which we're seeing now, is Malaga Cove Plaza. Some of these buildings here were the original buildings first put up in the 1920s. It's been expanded since then, but still the construction here was 1920s, 1940s. Nothing recent has been done here. So most of the early buildings on the entire Palos Verdes Peninsula were actually right here. Even this drinking fountain, you can just take a guess how old that structure is. Well, the piping and the fountain itself is new. The construction was many, many years ago. So this is Malaga Cove Plaza. And the original buildings, which are kind of sandwiched right in the middle there, are from the 1920s. In fact, this entire plaza area was designated as a National Register, National Historic Place on the National Register. That was about 1955 that happened. Beyond here, just on the other side of the Malaga Cove Plaza, is the Malaga Cove Library, which was also one of the, well, they're having some summer concerts in the park. The Malaga Cove Library was one of the earliest structures here as well, and is still an active library. It is quite a architectural site to see. We will head that way in just a little bit. You can see the architecture really not done like this anymore. Large ceilings, open areas. So the shops here, most of these are businesses, service type businesses, but we do have a couple restaurants. Very small retail stores, cafe, flowers, and bakery. That's a good combination. Yellow Vase. They're very well known in this area of Los Angeles County. They have several businesses, several locations. Some of them are large restaurants. This one is not so, very small, but they are known for good food. So this section to our right, this building here, these are all service businesses. Let's take a look around the back. Even the benches have been here for a long time. It's quite a crown on that palm tree. let's walk down past these other businesses here in Malaga Cove Plaza. Some people dining in the restaurant. Another restaurant market here on our right. This is the Malaga Cove Ranch Market, very much a neighborhood, small specialty type market. So you can see, very small, but they have a counter there and they serve up all kinds of good food. Pizza, liquor, bakery, gourmet coffee. They serve up sandwiches, but sandwiches are like this. The most basic thing on their menu. Coffee eatery, the Cove Cafe. Upstairs, more service businesses. Some dentists and doctors. The first building had real estate services. It's financial services here. The Scriba building. Travel store, Palos Verdes. Even these lights are really nice. Over in the distance, we're gonna head over there as soon as we circle around through the rest of these shops, is the Neptune Fountain, which also itself is a registered landmark. Bank of America. Bank of America is actually the closest thing to a chain business that's here. Realtors on the right.
Your setting is historically amazing, and you have the yard number does.
See this archway with the wood beams and the brick. Malaga Bank is a local bank here on the peninsula with a couple branches. They're very well known. They're like the local bank here. An Uncommon Journey. That's a good name. They have a nice display here. Get some ideas for taking a trip or adventure somewhere. Attorneys and architects there. Wow, look at that stairway. Very nice. Spanish tile. Corners of the World is well known in this area as a gift shop with all kinds of unusual items, quality things that you won't find elsewhere. This is not a typical, welcome to LA refrigerator magnet place. This place has all kinds of unusual and different type items. Very well known in the area. Some nice urns from the original development. Palos Verdes Estates is a quiet community because of the small population here. There is there just isn't a lot of action going on. It's not really a sleepy community, but it is quiet. Well, here's the local post office. This used to be located when Malaga Cove was first built through the early 1930s. Post office used to be in the old building, which we already passed. Today, it's much smaller here. This is just a branch post office. The main post office for the peninsula is located elsewhere. Nice relief on the front of this passageway. Oh, a portrait studio. Have your picture taken. Family portrait. Construction company. Over here in Malaga Lane. The zip code here in Palos Verdes Estates, 90274, was ranked as one of the most expensive housing areas in the country. I think it was like 47 or so. It is more on the wealthy side compared to other communities of the same size. We'll head over here and look at that fountain, the Neptune Fountain. This Malaga Cove Plaza isn't just a business place, it's a social gathering place. So in the parking lot area here and in the green space in front of it, they typically have community events. And they happen often. So there could be events happening every week, whether it's an art show, music concert. You have all kinds of things. It's a very social gathering area. Let's see if we can head down here. So in the center of Malaga Cove Plaza is the Neptune Fountain. So while this is the main business hub for the city, they really wanted it to stand out. So in the 20s, most of the early buildings came in all the way through the 1960s. And the fountain here, let's see if we can get a good look at that. The fountain here is a 2/3 scale and a 100-year-old replica of King Neptune. So this was actually purchased in Venice and shipped over to California in the 1920s, 1930s. So over the years, there's been damage here and there. It's been repaired several times, and it ended up for a substantial part of the fountain being replaced. So the original fountain itself, the original Neptune sculpture on the top is not there anymore because of the damage. So it has been replaced over the years. This is the marking the Malaga Cove beautification project. It is a nice fountain. Looking very much like it did when it was first installed. Just upgraded over the years and repairs as necessary. The design was based on a bronze sculpture, and the bronze was sculpted in 1563, and that's actually in Italy. So it's based on that design. Let's see if we could circle around the building here and take a look at the Malaga Cove Library. There's the Peninsula News since 1937. That's the local paper on the Palos Verdes Peninsula. Oh, here's a flower shop. Looks like they're going through their deliveries. Good morning.
Morning.
Stems Floral Design. That's great. West Coast Escrow. They have a nice sign there. Malaga Cove Plaza. While there are sidewalks here, much of the city being residential and master planned in the 1920s, 1930s, does not have sidewalks. So the majority of places, good morning, the majority of places that one would walk here in the city, you either have to walk on a street or there are a number of trails and walking paths, but where all the homes are, there's rarely a sidewalk. There's sidewalks here because this is the business district. There's another realtor across the street. These trees are really nice. You might be able to tell that this is basically uphill. The peninsula being a hill, most of the streets are hills. Very few are flat horizontal streets. So when you go walking through the city, you get a good workout. So across the street there is the original Malaga Cove Library, which was built just after the first building here in Malaga Cove Plaza that we saw. 1920s, 1930s. It's actually 5 stories due to the elevation of the hill. Okay, we'll head across the street. And this whole front section is a fountain. You can see it starts up at the top and ends up coming off this wall into the fountain. So this actually has water in it. It looks like They have it shut off at the moment. And this was very recently that they turned this off, because even the catch basin at the bottom still has water. So they might be doing some maintenance on this right now. You can see the colors where the water comes out. That's from the various minerals that are actually in the water, so that builds up over time. So looking back towards the ocean, this really is like the multi-family district here, and these are only here because when the city was first built, but otherwise the other areas of the city, with little exception, are single-family homes. There are a couple areas with some apartment buildings. Malaga Cove Branch Library. This is all original stonework. Take a look at the fountain. So you may have heard in the background some animal making noise. That was a peacock or peahen. They were imported by Frank Vanderlip in the 1920s, 1930s, and they have pretty much moved in since then. So you find clusters of them all across the Palos Verdes Peninsula. Loved by many, hated by some. They're beautiful creatures. Peafowl, as they're called, male and female. They're beautiful creatures. Yet, besides the noise they make, they can be quite destructive. So they have a habit of pecking at shiny paint jobs on cars, tearing up roof tiles, things like that. But they are beautiful creatures. Climbing upon fountain is prohibited. Yes, we don't recommend that. Little open space courtyard area outside the library. So this library officially opened for business in 1930. It was known as the Palos Verdes Public Library and Art Gallery, and they still have an art gallery today. So with the 5 levels, lots of windows to provide natural light inside. So you think about the early 1920s, you know, electricity was just coming out, wasn't even in its heyday. So they needed to have lots of windows for that lighting. It's more of a Mediterranean revival type architecture, mixed in with just a little bit of Spanish. Spanish is all over the city in the residential areas. And even in the children's area, they actually have a fireplace. How many libraries can say that? Yeah, all this original stonework. So that tower that we see at the top of the library there, that provides views of the ocean, which is off in the distance. So here we're on the back side of the tower right now. But you can go up there and get a good view of the ocean and read a good book. And the library itself is also registered as a California Historic Place. Not only is it a working library, it is going very strong. The library district here, Palos Verdes Peninsula, the library district is a very strong library district. I'll take a look at this sign, see what this says. This gives you an idea of one of the streets here. This is more of a flat horizontal street, and then it drops off right at the end of your view there, but no sidewalks. And then on the right, where the street goes up here, that's typical of the streets here in Palos Verdes Estates, hills. Oh. 10 to 5. And while this library is closed on Sundays, the main Peninsula branch library is open. I mentioned before that there's no sidewalks here in PV Estates, Palos Verdes Estates, but they do have walking paths and trails. It's a nice day here. Bright and sunny, flowers are blooming. It's about 75 degrees, and since we are still close to the ocean, there is a nice cool breeze coming from the ocean. You get a good view of the fact that this is a hill. So there's no development in those areas. That is really steep. Okay, I think we'll head on down this direction. Oh, this pine tree has all kinds of cones on it. Wow. Most of the trees in the city have been here basically forever. And if you want to take out a tree, you actually have to go through a hearing process to actually remove a tree, because the city really values their natural environment. At the same time, the trees help that environment, not just aesthetically with looks, but they certainly help filter the air and keep the entire city clean. Just looking, you can see all the trees and vegetation that is around. It's pretty much typical of the entire city. City also has a very large golf course, and also those equestrian trails and some stables. We'll take a look at those in another video. Oh wow, the fruit is really coming in on this tree. Looks like these are going to be peaches. Just starting to turn color from green. Just see a little pink in there. These peaches are small. I've seen some other trees around here in this area that also seem to have smaller fruits this year. It could be that the weather plays into that. Take a look at the plaque by the entrance. Malaga Cove Plaza Library, placed on the National Register of Historic Places. So on the National Register and the California Register. Built 1930. Farnham Martins Park. This park, latest of the many cherished things which the Palos Verdes community owes to his abounding devotion to his artistry and to the spirit which he kindled in all his associates, whether in work or in play, is dedicated by his neighbors and friends to the bright memory of Farnham Battles Martin. So that'd be this little park area outside the main entrance to the library. So he was probably a visionary in the early community who helped develop it into what it is today. We'll have to come back some other time when this fountain is running so we can actually see that going. It's definitely an old school fountain with all the different levels, water coming out all over the place, and it continues beyond this stone wall as we saw when we came in. This is the entrance to the art gallery. The art gallery isn't open right now. Oh, even though they have a door open, maybe they just aren't ready for people to go in yet today. The Storyteller. Michael Ezel, or Ezel. 2015. Well, that's really nice. Has the books and the hair with the glasses reading a book. That's nice. Lots of hummingbirds in this area, flying all around here. So as sidewalks are not in the majority of the city, which again is residential, there aren't crosswalks either. Crosswalks are only at the few major intersections in the city, and those are just a few. So we can head back downhill. Easier to go downhill than uphill. The alley behind Malaga Cove Plaza. These two streets we see at this intersection, the one to our left and the one ahead of us, which is Palos Verdes Drive. Those are the two major thoroughfares in the entire city, so we're basically seeing the traffic. That's it. You go everywhere else and it's far fewer cars. Head on back this way for one more look at the Neptune Fountain. The Gardner Building, which is what Malaga Cove Plaza used to be called. The Gardner Building. First structure built as part of the arcaded theme at Malaga Cove Plaza. Dedicated 1925 at the PV Home Association, the art jury, which pretty much specifies what you can build, the look and feel of it, colors and so forth. Building Commission, and Mr. Schaefer's Grocery and Meat Market. Oh. 1925. The Gardner Building was later renamed Malaga Cove Plaza. Take one more look at the fountain. At the bottom side. Okay, well, I think we'll end the video here. Thanks so much for coming along. Be sure to hit that like button at the bottom of your screen there. Hit that thumbs up button and smash that subscribe button so you know when the next adventure comes, which it's coming shortly. Thanks for coming along. Have a great day.